All right, so we are here at the California GOP Convention 2026. Things are getting real
Yes.
in this governor's race. Trump just endorsed you. Tell us how you feel about that.
I feel incredibly proud and honored to have the president's support, not just for my campaign, but actually for our state of California. The president called me on Sunday night after his endorsement. We had a great conversation, including his commitment to help us make things bring common sense to California. All these great things that he and his team are doing to have, to open up energy production and all the things he wants to do in California, forest management and fighting fraud and enforcing our immigration laws. All these things that right now you've got the Democrats who are in charge constantly fighting the president. When I'm governor, he has said that he will be there for us as a state to help make California truly golden again.
Wow, that's amazing. I think that's so powerful to know that President Trump knows he has somebody he can work with. It can just help turn around California that much faster. You mentioned energy. I want to ask you briefly about that because there was so much that just happened with energy in March. The federal government had to invoke the National Defense Production Act to reopen the San Ynez pipeline.
Yes.
And we also had an investigation come out that said that California government policy, not oil company price gouging, is responsible for 60% of price increases that Californians are paying at the pump. What do you think about that? What are you going to do about that?
So it's insane what's going on at the moment. I mean, the fact that they are fighting this, but it's just so obviously common sense that as long as we're using oil and gas in California, we should be using California oil and gas instead of shipping it in from halfway around the world. But these Democrats are just insane. They've got this crazy ideology, and it doesn't matter what the practical consequences are. They seem not to care about that. So we've got the highest gas prices in the country, as you say. All the direct result of Democrat policy, all of it avoidable. When I'm governor, I'm going to open up production, get rid of the regulations, and so instead of $5, $6, $7, or $8 gas, which we're getting from Democrats, this was the first pledge in my entire campaign, $3 gas. In fact, I'll tell you a story about the president. I started talking about $3 gas. Really, it was the first big pledge I made in my campaign, and I was speaking to the president on the phone. Must have been last summer, sometime June, something like that, maybe a bit earlier. I remember him saying to me, Steve, I saw you talking about $3 gas. He said, that's great. Keep saying that. You'll win the race just with that. And then he said, wait, what about $2.50? Try $2.50. I thought, classic Trump.
That's President Trump.
Exactly. I said, sir, $3 is hard enough. Maybe $2.50 is the second term.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, that's what President Trump wants for America, and that's what we need for California. I want to ask you, we need a Republican governor in California. We need to get through this primary first and foremost. What do average Californians do? What do you need from people to get through this primary and make it into the governor's
So look,
mansion?
I'm happy that I'm leading in the polls. I was leading by a lot even before the president's endorsement. We had a couple of polls this week, including from Eric Swalwell, who looks like he might be on the way out.
Yes.
Where Eric Swalwell's own poll had me on 22%,
Wow.
Swalwell on 18%, Tom Steyer and Chad Bianco on 13%. So and that was before the president's endorsement.
Yeah.
So I think that that's going to really help us unify on the Republican side. That's the number one thing we need to do at this convention is get behind the president's lead and get behind one candidate who can lead us to victory in November. That's what matters, beating the Democrats in November.
Absolutely. Well, we wish you luck. We're following your campaign. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Great to be with you. Thanks.
Steve.
1, 2, 3.
First, I want to say thank you so much for being here. Thanks for taking time out to come and check out our convention. My name's Corinne Rankin. I am the chair of the California Republican Party. I was elected last March. This is my second convention so far during my chairmanship. So I'm really proud, and I'm ecstatic for all of the excitement that we're experiencing here at the California Republican Party here at our convention today. We have so many exciting things in the works. We have a jam-packed schedule. We're really trying to move our convention from being a day and a half, if you will, to a full 2 day productive convention. So today's Friday. We usually start Friday around maybe 2 o'clock, maybe 5 o'clock ish for the people show up for the welcome event on Friday afternoon. So we really did start packing things very early this morning, starting at 10 a.m. A lot of our chartered organizations had their meetings, they did their business, and they're used to doing that on Saturday. They did today. Tomorrow it's going to be a full day of trainings. It's really important for me that I make sure that everybody has access to training. Everybody is able to learn how to use our voter app, our voter contact software, learn about campaigns, learn about campaign structure, whether it be fundraising, whether it be campaign management, whether it be how to use AI on campaigns. Like, it really is for me about just implementing cutting edge technology and training the next generation of campaign workers and our next generation of leadership, quite frankly. I think that Californians are by and large looking for viable alternatives. They're looking towards the California Republican Party. And I said when I was elected that it's my job to make sure that we meet the moment and we meet Californians where they're at. So this is my efforts in making sure that we meet that moment and that we're ready to lead. When Californians begin to vote for Republicans because they like what we have to say, they like the solutions that we're presenting to them, and that we're ready to do so. We're ready to take over and we're ready to lead.
Chair, can you weigh in on the allegations against Congressman Eric Swalwell? What is your reaction, and how does that change the gubernatorial race for your party, if at all?
I think they're very serious allegations. They should be very seriously considered, and they should be vetted. They should be make sure that they are just fairly and accurately presented. I think that in order for me to make a full comment, then we're all going to have to learn more, and I want to make sure that before I jump in, I take a moment to pause and say that these are very serious. They should be very seriously considered, and we should all be looking for more information to come out of that.
So you're not calling on him to drop out, at least not yet?
I am not calling on him to drop out. I am looking for more information. I think that they're very serious allegations. I need to learn more. I think we all need to learn more. And we'll see how it goes. And if these come out and it's all proven, then he shouldn't need me or anyone else to be called on to drop out. If these allegations are serious, and if they're proven, these allegations are proven, then he should take it upon himself to do the right thing.
Chairwoman Rankin, can you talk about the president's endorsement of Steve Hilton and what that has meant for sort of the energy level and the excitement here at the convention? What's your personal reaction to the president's decision to weigh in on the gubernatorial race on the Republican side?
Personally, I was surprised to see President Trump weigh in on anything really that has to do with California. This is not something that he typically does. I think that there's a lot of excitement on both sides. There's a lot of excitement for Chad Bianco, and there's a lot of excitement for Steve Hilton. And I'll tell you this, our delegates are definitely taking notice of the fact that President Trump has weighed in on this race. To reference his Truth Social truth that he put out. A lot of delegates, there's a lot of chatter about it right now. Where they're going to land, I can't say in this moment. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes out of the rest of the weekend. Both Chad Bianco and Steve Hilton will be participating in the candidate forum tomorrow afternoon. I think that will be a good chance for both of them to state their case in front of delegates. And I'm sure it's going to be a packed room, and everybody's going to be on the edge of their seats to listen to both sides, to both of these candidates.
One quick follow-up on that. There have been several strategists who have said that the one way real path to getting a Republican elected governor in California was to have Chad Bianco and Steve Hilton win the top two in the primary in June and lock Democrats out of the November election. That seems to be less likely now that the president has weighed in. Do you have a reaction to that? Are you disappointed that happened? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't see why that wouldn't still be the case. I mean, Californians are going to vote for who they want. And so far, we've seen poll after poll, they've chosen Steve Hilton and Chad Bianco as the top two. And I don't really see that as changing too much. You know, there is a chance that there could be two Republicans at the top two. And it's because we've got two really great candidates. And it's also because the Democrats have done a lot to destroy the state. And they frankly, you know, all of the problems that people see in California, whether it be the affordability issue with gas, with groceries, and just the cost of living, the homelessness, the public safety. You know, people don't feel safe in their neighborhoods. They don't feel safe parking their car, walking into a store, and feel safe that their car window's not going to be broken into. I mean, a lot of people have taken into the just leave your car unlocked and nothing in there so that, you know, a potential thief doesn't have to break your window. People are tired of that. And the whole slate of Democrats are running on the issues that they've caused. They're running to try to fix the issues that they have overwhelmingly caused in California. And I think the fact that we continue to see two Republicans at the top 10 is that the top two, excuse me, is that Californians see that these two Republicans are better than any of the candidates the Democrats are offering up. I have to take someone else.
Sorry, we only have time for two more questions.
Yes, and then you had your hand up too, right? Or no?
Yeah.
Okay, so you and then you, ma'am. Go ahead.
Recently, a CBS investigation revealed that 66% of the price increases that Californians pay at the pump is due to Democrat policy, not to oil company price gouging. What is the California Republican Party's policy or plan to help Californians pay less at the pump?
We have a member of our assembly, I believe it's Assembly Member Jeff Gonzalez, who has introduced legislation to suspend the gas tax. So this is nothing new for us as Californians. When they introduced this gas tax years ago, I want to say it's 2019-ish, when it was Proposition 6. And Republicans, you know, it was called the gas tax, and the way they trickily worded it, it was meaning to vote yes on the gas tax. Well, most people look at it and say, why would I vote yes on a gas tax? But the way the sentence was worded was very confusing. So we had, you know, initiatives back then to stop the gas tax in real time. Unfortunately, those passed in California. So it's no surprise to us that you know, we warned of this years ago, that it was going to increase the cost of gas and that it was going to hurt Californians. And here we are.
Thank you.
Yes.
Charlotte, yeah, so related to that, you don't think that Trump's endorsement, because of, you know, a lot of people are upset with him right now, given the war in Iran and the high cost of gas prices, you don't think that his endorsement will make it more difficult for a Republican, or in the scenario that we mentioned earlier, for two Republicans to advance to the November election just because of his unpopularity with Californians and also just more broadly with Americans right now?
No. I think what Californians want is they want people that work well together. And whether you like President Trump's personality or you don't like his personality, I mean, there's legislators that are, you know, on every side I like their personality too. But the fact remains is that we need to work with the federal government. And we need to have a good relationship with the federal government. And what we see happen every day, as soon as President Trump was elected, the California legislature allocated millions of dollars to suing the federal government. We don't need to continue that. We need elected members, a governor, an insurance commissioner, a treasurer, a lieutenant governor that are going to work well together. When you compare it to a city council race, and you look at a slate of candidates, and you see all their photos, they're like, we work well together, and we're going to work to do all these wonderful things. People want to see our elected officials work well together. And if he's going to come in and he's going to work well with a Republican governor for the betterment of Californians to lower our gas prices, lower the cost of groceries, deregulate the market, make it more friendly for business, help with our public safety crisis, help with our homeless crisis, then I think Californians should welcome that.
Sorry, we have a very.
At a 2-year high, can Californians trust that President Trump will actually lower costs?
Absolutely. He ran, President Trump is a promises made, promises kept. And inflation didn't start with him. So we can look back at, President Biden, with the inflation was at its all-time high under the Biden regime. It's beginning to lower, and we'll see that is going to continue. Again, it's all about working together, and this is something that we don't see happening. We have a super majority in both houses in Sacramento, and the state Senate and the state legislature, and they're not coming to the table to compete on the field of ideas. There's so many of them, they don't have to listen to anyone else. The only voice they hear are the extreme left of their party, who are talking about people's personalities, talking about things that are going on in DC, talking about everything under the sun rather than what's important to Californians.
Thank you, everybody. Sorry, we have.
You have been keeping this movement going throughout all the years and throughout all the changes. Because if we didn't have you guys building this movement, our YR Club would have no movement to step into. And now we are just trying not to mess it up. So truly, thank you very much. I have had the privilege of serving with the Young Republicans since 2019, and that may not sound like a long time, but in political years, it feels like about 20. And I hear it all the time. The younger generation, they're disengaged, they don't care about politics, they're on their phones all day. And to be fair, we are on our phones a lot. But what we're doing on our phones is actually engaging with other young Republicans, with other voters. If you were added onto one of our texts, you would probably mute it within 5 minutes. But what we're doing is creating content, we're doing phone banking, we're reaching out to people, we're organizing, mostly on our phones. And what's so cool is the Young Republicans is from 18 to 40. So we have a mix of millennial, which is me, and Gen Z as well. And millennials, I think, bring the leadership and the organization, and Gen Z brings the speed, creativity, but also sometimes a little chaos. But when we work together, we are doing something incredible. And so my goal is to have the Young Republicans work even more with the college Republicans, because college Republicans are young Republicans. And I think that sometimes there's a divide there, because there's strong personalities in leadership, which is no stranger to our party. But what I really want to do is give the college Republicans a place to step into leadership where they're not feeling like they're starting down at the bottom again. We really need the college Republicans to come into the Young Republicans so we can build a bigger movement. But we also need help from you guys to do that too. And I do see some people in the room who are big supporters of both Young Republicans and college Republicans. And it's easy. There's so many ways to help the next generation. That could be something like offering up your backyard or business so we could hold a meeting, or making an introduction for a young Republican, or even just encouraging somebody young, because sometimes we're the only people in our workplace or school that have a conservative voice. And it is really hard. But what I've noticed over and over again is that there is so much courage in the younger generation. It's not easy. being conservative in California. We are the minority. And I heard stories of girls on campus getting yogurt thrown at them. I hear people getting, harassed in their workplace. And so it's really hard. So we do need the encouragement of everybody. And what we're doing to get out the vote is, first, pizza and beer work really well to draw people to phone banking. Also, we try to do something really fun for every canvassing event that we do. We have a great speaker, we'll have a great activity. I live in Newport Beach, we bring people out on ducky boats when we can, and so we try and make it fun. But what we're also doing is infiltrating other groups. So I run a nonpartisan charity group, and I invite all of the young Republicans to go to that group, and we recruit more people. I make sure that the young Republicans are involved in their local Chamber of Commerce, so we can also get people through there. And we are educating our members, so we're creating tremendous value. So we're teaching them how to write letters to the editor, so they can get their voice out there. We have a fantastic Hispanic outreach program, because that is the majority in California, and that has worked so well. We're also taking young Republicans up and down the state for industry days, where we're teaching them about the wonderful industries we have here in California, like agriculture, AI, power, water, a whole bunch of different things. And so we really do want to draw people in with the fun and educational things, and also have them spread the word. And so that's what we're doing to get out the vote. And we're also teaching people how to ballot harvest as well. A lot of Republicans hang on to their ballot and they don't want to give it up, but there's a lot of apathy, which I'm sure you guys know. It's never been easier to vote. The ballot shows up at your door, your dog can take it out to the mailbox, but even still, people don't do that. So we ask every young Republican to ask for a ballot. And when I go out canvassing for a few hours, I usually come back with about 15 or 16 ballots, which isn't too bad if it would have been none. Yeah. And so the young Republicans are really excited for this midterm election. We know that there's a lot of work to do, and we're also flying to different states to help other candidates in battleground areas, which sounds kind of glamorous, like flying around to different states, but when you're on your 5th hour of door knocking in the heat, you are definitely questioning all of your decisions. And so we need the support from you guys to give to the young Republicans, so we can be the ones out there who are on the ground and getting candidates elected.
Yeah, bar's still open. Morgan, the state controller.
A little bit later, we worked together.